Today I want to preview Ohio State versus Northwestern in the Big Ten Championship, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. I want to talk about the Big Ten Championship, Ohio State versus Northwestern for the league title. This is a top 25 matchup with one loss between these two teams, but a limited season, and that is really what we're discussing across the country. But landscape here is Ohio State wins. They are getting into the college football playoff because the playoff selection committee has signaled with its rankings it will put in a 6-win Big Ten champion because they just think Ohio State is that good. However, Northwestern has beaten Wisconsin and only lost to Michigan State and has remained a top 25 team, and they're looking for their first league title in 20 years with Pat Fitzgerald being head coach. He joined the staff at Northwestern 19 years ago, 2001, and was really perhaps their best player of all time with his 96 team. And we're looking at an Ohio State team that has won the Big Ten title 2016, 2019, of course, 2014 national championship year, but is looking for yet another one. This would give them their 41st conference championship. Not too shabby for perspective there. Oklahoma's going after its 50th conference championship, and USC is going after its 40th conference championship. So that's pretty doggone good. Ohio State has also won 9 division titles, 2 in this Leaders Division, 7 in the Big Ten East Division. I'm glad that they went away from that Leaders and Legends crap. I didn't think it was very cool. Also looking at trying to win their 9th national championship in program history. Now, it's about Justin Fields. It's about Chris Olave. It's about Garrett Wilson. If those dudes are absolutely drift compatible in this game against Northwestern, I think this is going to go Ohio State's way. They've been able to score points and score a bunch of them. The conversation is around their defense, particularly the secondary. Now, they went against Michigan State. They were able to play really outstanding defense, giving up just 12 points and knocking a quarterback out of the game, though Peyton Thorne started his game 11 for 11 and really took over that starting position for Michigan State. And that same Michigan State team beat Northwestern, right? They beat Northwestern, holding them to just 63 yards rushing. Same Northwestern team that rushed for 411 yards against Illinois and got Lovie Smith fired. But this is also just going to be the first game that Ohio State's been able to play in the last week, because they had to take off the Michigan week. They were able to play a Michigan State game, and then they had to take off the Illinois game. So we're talking about what? Not a whole lot of football for the Buckeyes, who didn't really get to start playing football until late in the season in the first place. And we're talking about a truncated Big Ten schedule that had no room for error. And, of course, there were a bunch of errors. And Dabo Swinney decided to try to have this conversation out in public about whether or not a 6-win team should be allowed into the playoff. And then Dan Mullen, who lost to LSU, is trying to talk about, I guess the thing for us to do was play fewer games, because apparently playing fewer games gets you into the playoff. It's about what you think is good, but more than that, don't lose. And you want to play more games because you want to make more money. But more than that, the kids don't make these decisions. The kids wanted to play 12 games this year. Every last one of them. Nobody wanted to play fewer games. And I think it was uncouth and untoward for Dan Mullen and for Dabo Swinney to say that and to put this really at the feet of the Big Ten and at the feet of the Pac-12, claiming that they should be penalized because they wanted to be extra cautious in making their decisions. The kids are playing. You know, Justin Fields was out here stumping to play, right? He said, we want to play. Did not opt out at all, right? Even as Sean Wade did, Wyatt Davis did, the best player on the team said, I want to play. And Trevor Lawrence said, I want to play. And they were lockstep there. So I think Dabo is undercutting his own guy, really, with this conversation. And I also think Dan Mullen just doesn't have a leg to stand on. Same guy that said Marco Wilson made a football play throwing dude's shoe 40 yards downfield, 20 yards downfield. What are you talking about? I mean, that's just asinine. You don't need to take off a Marco Wilson like that. You can say it was a boneheaded play and he's sorry, but don't tell us it's a football move, because you're saying that throwing a shoe 20 yards, your opponent's shoe 20 yards downfield is a football move. That's just stupid. But if Northwestern were able to pull off this upset, it would mean that they pull off the biggest upset of conference championship weekend, as they are a bigger dog against Ohio State than Florida is against Alabama. Alabama's a 16.5-point favorite in that game. Ohio State is a 21.5-point favorite in this one. And the thinking has been that Ohio State would have to win this game and win this game big to keep their number 4 spot in the college football playoff. I don't know that they have to win it as big anymore. The way that we're talking about Florida, we'll see what the college football playoff rankings look like, because that's going to tell us how far back Florida is, and more to the point, how far back Texas A&M is, because their best win was against this Florida team. That win doesn't look so good anymore with LSU getting that W in the swamp, and they're a bad football team. They've still lost more games than they have won this season, and they weren't at full strength. That's not a good look for Florida. Their defense looks subjective. And if Todd Grantham doesn't get fired at the end of this year, I'm going to be shocked, quite honestly, because Florida seems to be as good as his defense is allowed to be, and it's the scheme. It ain't the players. It's the scheme that's letting them down. Terry Combs has done everything he can to try to fix that defense for Ohio State, and I think they have the players. Sevyn Banks, Shaun Wade, Josh Proctor's been outstanding. Marcus Hooker gets it on course. You're going to be okay. Be able to throw some Latham Ransom in there. Yeah, you're going to be okay. You have what I think is the best linebacking core in all of football. Tuff Borland, Pete Warner. I mean, Baron Browning, who's a freak. I really enjoy watching that team play football when they're playing on all, or firing on all cylinders, as it were, and they're going to need to look good on Saturday to make sure they get their spot. So the only chaos here is if Northwestern were able to pull off an upset, and then you really have to talk about, are you going to put in a 1-loss Big Ten champion over a perhaps 2-loss SEC champion? That's interesting, right? Would you put in Northwestern, who beat the 4th best team in the country, over Florida, who beat the number 1 team in the country? We'll see, right? This is why we played the games. So, landscape, Ohio State wins, Northwestern wins, college football chaos, which is its natural state, and I'm here for it. All right, that's it for me. Doses.